Welcome back, Kitchen Sink family members. Welcome back. Again, I would like to thank you so much. After the previous video, there's been quite a few responses, and I will have to attend to some of the questions, which means we are continuing with this conversation of taking care of our elderly, parents. But today we will focus specifically on the issue of funerals. Before I do that, let me read from Romans chapter 12, verse 15. Romans chapter 12, verse 15, which says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn." And in Shona, it says, Roma chapter 12, ndima 15, farai nevanofara, uye chemai nevanochema. I just thought, you know what, let's just go for it straight away. So, having talked about taking care of the elderly, making sure that we are sending them groceries and all, there were some questions that were then asked. Question number one was, is it morally right to send parents to old people's homes? Yeah, very interesting. I don't know about morally right. But what I know definitely is, for example, I once upon a time, I had a grandmother. She's late now. My uncle's wife. Their children, 4 of them, they are in the diaspora, and thank God, by the time she passed, she was still able to take care of herself or be taken care of at home. So in other words, she didn't grow too old to have needed to be in an old people's home. But I shudder to imagine if it had gotten to that, where the children are in the diaspora, the grandchildren are in the diaspora, who would be doing it wholeheartedly to take care of your loved one when you are away? In that case, I don't think it's a matter of morality, but rather a matter of need. You need for your parent to be taken care of. You need for them for that to be done in an environment that is conducive, that is appropriate. I personally, by the way, it's a personal opinion. I honestly do not mind for when a parent is sent to a retirement home, and a good retirement home, by the way. I'm not talking abandoning them, Kwamtoko and those other places. No. Like a refugee or somebody who's, a vagabond on the streets. No, I'm talking of you, the children that would like to see your parents in a retirement home, to make a plan for it. I know definitely some of the retirement homes in Harare, or rather not Harare, in Zimbabwe, you need to book. You need to book way in advance. You pay something almost like you buy that space for the duration of your life till you die. I know definitely there are some homes that are very good homes. They will live like as a gated community, but there are nurse aides on the property. There might be a clinic or even a hospital on the property. And they will have people that will take care of your loved one in a very good way. In that case, I personally don't see anything wrong with that. I also have an experience of a family, all of them out in the diaspora. In the end, where they were, I think they were in the UK. They took, after their father had died, they took their mother, put her in a home in UK. Why did they do that? Because they said she's near us, and because we are busy, no one will be able to stay at home with her. The children are in school, the parents are going to work. They put her in a home there in the UK, and every so often they were visiting. It's close by. I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as the motive is not to abandon. I think the problem that we have sometimes is when the parents are abandoned. That's where the problem is. But if you plan for it nicely, you put them in a nursing home, in an old people's home, where you've planned for it as a family, I have no problem with that. And I don't think it's a matter for morality. I think once upon a time, it felt like it's a moral issue. But I think as we our children are going away, far away from us more and more, it might be the best thing to do for your parents to know that at least they are in a place where they are taken care of. That's my take, guys. If you have an opposing opinion, please comment and let's share. The other question was, should you make your children part of your retirement package? Guys, I don't know about making you part of a retirement package. But in another way, yes. How do you honor me and your father in our old age, taking care of us, and we don't become part of your retirement package? By so doing, remember there's a whole generation in here, this is Zimbabwe specific. There's a whole generation of us who have no pensions at all. The little that we paid, I mean, just the other day, someone was telling me that NASA, our social security enterprise, is paying people as little as $9 a month. If you do not take care of them in their old age, what is $9 going to achieve? $30, $70 a month? It can't. You have to come in as a child and heavily subsidize. We can't even call it subsidize. You are actually taking care of them. You become their retirement portfolio. The more children you have, that's how you manage your retirement portfolio. Unfortunately, we also belong to the generation that reduced the number of children that we have. I can imagine in my father and mother's time, there were 7 of us. They will be counting, on us to take care of them, without using the word retirement package, But remember, in the last conversation, we're saying honor your father and your mother. As you do that, if there is a need, surely you can take care of that. Surely you can do that. And I'm talking about even those children who has their parents who are with them in the diaspora. Right there and then, please check on them. You might assume that they are okay. They may not be okay. Financially, they may not be okay. Relationally, some of them are so lonely. They are so alone. It's sad. Ensure that you encourage them to participate in whatever else they are able to participate, so that their livelihood, is much better. So that they don't live life like one foot in the grave from the age of 60, 65. No, they are fine. They just need to ensure that their everyday, life is taken care of. And I don't know what to call it, but if retirement package is the word to use, then let it be. But bottom line, all I'm saying is, children, please look out for your parents. Look out for them, and you will ensure that they retire. There are things that children might want to do to start a project for their parents in old age. It might not always work. It might actually not always work. It might work for some, but not for all parents. You have to assess their health condition to see whether they are able to. If they are not able to, it's unfortunate. But if they're able to do something, at home on their homestead, look after chickens, grow, their own crops, if they're able to do it, that will help. But some may not be able to do it. And when they are not able to do it, you have to unfortunately become part of their retirement portfolio and benefit from you as a child to them. So now that we're talking about this anyway, we might as well talk about funerals. This generation, not only are you not taking care of us, your parents, in old age, you don't even attend funerals. It's like you get the shock of your life when it's your actual parent now who has passed on. Now you want to know and understand how things are done. Apologies. I think our truck for collecting our trash is in the neighborhood, so you'll hear a sound of a big truck. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is you have to learn some of these things. You have to learn to find out, if you hear that somebody has passed on, what happens at funerals? Do you know what happens? I'm not saying become a chief mourner. No, just understand, and if you can attend some of these funerals, no, there are no ghosts at funerals. Don't be afraid. You will see what happens and you will know what happens. And then you'll be able to understand how to participate. For a young, newly married woman, people cook, people eat at funerals. I know generation ahead of me, my mothers and my seniors, they actually wanted for you as the daughter-in-law to be the one cooking, as in literally you are the one by the fire, place cooking. My generation, we understand. Be organized. Look for a caterer, but do it all the same. You supervise the caterer. Make sure there's food. Make sure it's adequate. Make sure it's on time, and make sure that there's cleanliness around the cooking area. It's your responsibility. You may not be the one to do it if you are organized enough to bring in a caterer, but ensure that it is done and that it is done properly. Young men, there must be fun. You are the runaround boys during a funeral. Make sure things are in order, In Zimbabwe here, I don't know about elsewhere, but I've seen it. I've attended funerals in Zambia, and I've attended funerals in Kenya, rural Kenya for that matter. Even there, rural Kenya, I know the daughters-in-law, there was an expectation. Even in Zambia, there was an expectation. So this is an African issue. You have to know what happens. And you cannot come dressed like you're going to watch a movie when you're going to a funeral. It can't, I don't know how you dress up for a movie, but definitely however it is, that is not the way you come dressed up when you're coming to a funeral. It has to be a dress code that is conducive, in which you are comfortable, you are decent, and you are modest, and people are not going to stop, mourning, watching you as you pace up and down at the funeral. Please dress modestly. And this for young men and young women. In our culture, you then dig the graves. The young men, you the sons-in-law, you dig the graves. But if you are smart, you carry some money with you. There are always some people who are willing to do the dirty job for you, and then you supervise. If you are not organized, you will find yourself having to dig the grave, and you don't even know the dimensions. You don't even know how deep you should go. You have to learn some of these things. Hey, if you don't know much, you can ask me questions. I know I see people at a funeral now putting on t-shirts. They want to be recognized and everything. But you were so disorganized. It's not even worth it to be identified as relatives to that. And over and above that, a lot of what needs to happen, around funerals is just to mourn with those who mourn. And what does that mean? It's not necessarily to shedding tears. When I am mourning with those that are mourning, yes, there will be times where tears will come down, but the majority of the time is to just sit down and offer comfort to them. Listen, allow them to speak. Listen, give them words of encouragement, wait, allow them, seek to understand where someone is coming from when they're expressing their deep sorrow. Understand where they are coming from. Understand the gravity of their loss. That's how you mourn, and support them through the journey. The shock that they will be with the first day they lose their loved one will not be the same, 5 months, a year down the road. But at that time of the shock, you need to be there for them and encourage them and strengthen them. Just give them support. Don't be a specialist giving advice left, right, and center. You don't know, where somebody has been with their loved one. You don't know. Just offer them comfort. Unless they are soliciting for advice, then you give advice. Otherwise, just give comfort and allow for people to mourn their loved one. I know there will be many questions, but hey, we can only go so far. But thank you so much for coming. Please comment, subscribe, like, share, and let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. Sit down. Churches, sit down with young people. Let's educate each other. Women's groups, young adults groups. Let's talk about these things so that we are not taken by surprise when it happens. Otherwise, thank you so much. See you in the next video. Thank you.